This is academic advising. I just got out of the most glorious office I'd ever been in. It was beyond New York, and the woman just kind of told me, like, go online, just kind of like, interesting. What was I doing here? But I'm an alum, and so we're supposed to be able to come and get some kind of advising if we can't get employment. But see, they don't care because they're already employed. And I sort of did, you know, let her know that she was not from the area. She's getting a nice big salary. She had a fabulous corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows looking out onto the forest, and was basically uneducated, really. Just kept saying informational, you need to do informational research. And that was all she said. So it didn't matter what my resume was. It didn't matter anything. They're just paying a parrot a lot of money, and who couldn't even speak proper English. And this is where people start to not be happy with things like affirmative action and things. You know, I'm all for justice and fairness. I never understood the term social justice. I don't know why the word justice can't just cover everything. Whenever I heard the term social justice, here we are, we've got some people. Certainly not like when I went here, when the whole thing, but hey, we've got some people. Isn't the word justice enough? Does social justice mean there's no environmental justice or something like that? So I basically had a social justice encounter right now, and it's not fair to those who are minorities who do work hard. You know, so it's not fair. But I did have basically someone who had a beautiful, amazing office, probably in her mid-20s, very, very, very young, and very, very horrible handshake. It was like getting a handshake from the Incredible Hulk or something. You know, that she was this strong woman, and, you know, and, you know, very young. And we go in there, and it's like, what the heck are you doing here? And I'm saying, look, I live in Olympia. I can't get a job. And I worked for everyone in New York and never had a problem. You know, I would call people at the airport when I'd come in from vacation, and they'd be like, get down here now. And we're talking Madison Avenue. We're talking Wall Street. We're even talking Donald Trump. I even proofread for Donald Trump. And, you know, so it's a little bit annoying when you've paid your dues and then some. And you've been up midnight getting SEC filings together, working on classified information, working on GoCos and COGOs. That's corporate owned, government operated, corporate owned. Working with Lloyd's of London, who never, ever sent us anything typewritten. Everything came on matchbook covers from pubs. You know, just like all kinds of wild people getting sent even to underground facilities, proofreaders. That never happened to me. The weirdest place I went was to some sort of windowless building in New York once. I got scooped up one night from a really major, intense firm, and like deposited in this building that had no windows. And yes, people would photograph us before we would do things, and you know, it was just like very intense. So to see just someone sitting there kind of looking at me with a blank face going, do you know what informational blah blah is? You know, just some kind of jargony thing. And I said, there is no industry in this town. The mills were taken away because of the deals with China. And she just looks at me blankly. She had no idea. I said, the brewery got gutted out. Now it's on fire. She looks at me blankly. You know, and then I said, well, how did you get this job? How did you get your little fancy state job that you have? Because I want the job you have. I want to do what you do. I want your office. I want your office that overlooks the trees, and you get little lunch breaks and you get it all. I want your little career advising job. That's what I want. I said, you're like in your 20s and you're telling me nothing. You've got one little phrase you're using over and over again on me. And I said, does this informational thing work for you? And then she ended up telling me, oh, I had a friend who had a mentor here in Washington. Right? So here we've got someone, early 20s, knew someone, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And somehow got this little cushy thing. Here I've been trying for years to get something here. And a lot of people I know who are graduates. So it's, you know, very much a strong nepotism going on here for the incompetent. You know, she looked at me all smug. She's got it all going. I bet she owns real estate here by now. And she's like in her 20s. But because she can say that she's from a certain oppressed class, and because she has a mentor, even though she's in her early 20s, she's got a probably $40,000 a year job with all the trimmings. And all she wanted to do was just get me the heck out of there. She sure didn't like me being around, I'll tell you that. You know, yeah, they've got these little nests going, you know. And did you see all of the rooms as I walked down the corridor? Those were all academic advising. There's a huge quadrant, and they're all just hiding in there. Nobody goes there. Everyone knows it's a waste of time. Who would go there? Me, because I'm making this film. And I really should have filmed her. If you saw her, though, you would die. You would just go, oh my God. That's like the very worst form of affirmative action, and it's not good for minorities. It's not fair to them. You know, I had a friend who taught in the Bronx, like brilliant kids up there who were street smart and they were school smart and they were just smart. And she said they never got hired. That the affirmative action kind of came in and made sure to get just the ones that'll toe the, you know, that'll toe the line. You know, and they make it hard for the others. Because then people start seeing them and go, oh, wow, well, that group of people must be stupid. Because look, that stupid person has such a great job. So it's really, really unfair to the minorities, because basically they're just grabbing the ones who are going to just do and say and tout the line. So I knew what I was getting into, I guess, by even coming over. But when I saw that it was a 20-year-old minority with attitude, you know, gonna tell me what it is, I could tell she was holding her tongue. I could tell she wanted to give me a lecture. You know, I could just feel it. And yeah, trying to tell me about Trump and education and stuff. It's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not quite sure where we are. Once again, I had my friend Doc, who refuses to come over here, but he had the original plans. He was one of my Vietnam friends who came here in '67, and this was donated property. Weirdly, it was happy hunting grounds over here for the Native Americans, and there were some great stands of trees that the people wanted left up, and then supposedly the plans got lost, but they just wanted to kind of keep erecting concrete all over the place, and God knows why, really. Sorry, you guys, if I'm super emotional. I wish you would have seen her office. It was floor-to-ceiling glass up against the woods and decorated with really nice art, you know, her little incense thing going, whatever. It was like this little yoga meditation retreat lounge, and it was, you know, kind of like, yeah, I've got, you know, I looked at her, I said, you're the one with the perfect job. I want your job. I want to be able to sit here and just tell people, do you know what, you know, computer interfacing is, or whatever little term she had, you know, do you know what that is? And then when I told her, look, okay, so basically you're saying this term means call a place that already exists and ask them if they have a job. That's basically what she was talking about. That was basically it. Okay, it's about 11 now. All quiet on the Western Front, huh? You know, it's interesting. They never really did care about people's employment. There's a great book called The Experiment at Evergreen by Richard Jones, one of the original sort of founders, and he's also one of those underground seer guys. And there were these kind of little New Yorker jokes in the book. It was funny. Like, the book started out, and most people at Evergreen haven't even read it. I think it's out of print now. We could go into the archives and look for it. I used to have a copy a long time ago, and now it's like $2,000 online or something. But The Experiment at Evergreen by Richard Jones, who was a naval psychiatrist. And one of the original, if you're looking for MK Ultra info, definitely check out Richard Jones. And because MK Ultra, like I said, it was originally a naval thing. And so The Experiment at Evergreen had these little snarky cartoons throughout it. Not a lot, but a couple. And the first one was, you know, your typical New Yorker, like, boardroom. You know, the guys in the boardroom, the executives around the table, you know, up in some skyscraper. And they're sitting around and they say, how do we package the same garbage but make everyone think it's new and different? Okay, so that was one thing in the book, The Experiment at Evergreen. So he laid it out, you know, and then another joke that was just sort of told in it, it wasn't a physical joke like that one, was, oh, well, isn't it nice to know that the person taking your toll booth change might have read Moby Dick? So this was basically just some way to make money, really, for cement contractors at some point, a way to disarm anyone of potential danger, or maybe even brilliance. I have met a few brilliant people here. It's been a while. It seems like that shut down pretty much in the early 80s. But wow, I just met somebody I'm paying for. I just met someone I'm paying for. She's got a cushy little cush thing. She isn't from here. She's in her 20s. And she doesn't know a thing. But she's got that job. Are these people going to go down the drain? Or are they just going to kind of keep with their little cush jobs? And her, oh, well, my friend had a mentor. See, when I asked her, how did you get your job? Did you go online with your resume? Oh, no. No, I had a mentor who brought me out. And then it was interesting because I said, well, should I get a degree here in public administration? And then she said, no, there's competition. There's too much competition. You could never get a state job. You should not take public admin. So I found that to be interesting too. They don't want me about, huh? And I saw another person who I could tell was not from here dropping their ballot in the box yesterday. I don't know if I caught that on film or not. They were a little bit creepy, and sometimes I get a little nervous. But I do the best I can. I do. So shall we see what's up here before we sign off? Shall we have a little look and see? Okay, rally for our profs in education, not the cops and incarceration. So this is interesting because it's like, it's strange. It's almost like, you know, I guess technically it's not part of the school, but I don't know. I mean, it's just, you don't really see much else. And these boards have really been pretty stripped. You know, they just kind of, they're just a lot of kind of Democrat voter stuff. You know, it's so weird. Okay, we want clean air. Oh, Washington wants, sorry. Okay, and then once again, this thing about rally for our professors and education, not the cops, and incarceration. That's a bit of a mouthful, but they do like these little chanty things. And sorry if I'm having a little bit of a jealous fit of a moment. It's just a little tough when you realize, like, wow, I've gone through life like riding subways and going up and down buildings and running around all over the place, to make my bread or whatever. And here's this person who's just sitting there in their like early 20s, just being a total snot. And you know, the only reason she got that position was because she was a minority. And it's not even fair, like I said, to the minorities, because there's probably like all these smart minority people who aren't getting these jobs either. It's basically the minority who will toe the line, just like the LGBT who will toe the line. It's not like it's all LGBT people. It's that certain groups are being used. But, you know, and I'm sure that there can be other groups as well. So take good care, and we will sign off. And today's Tuesday. That's 11. Bye.